Okay, go ahead.
If desires are the root of suffering, is there anything inherently wrong with them? How do you best acknowledge and put to good use our desires without getting carried away by their passions?
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question. I don't quite get the logical movement. So the premise is, if desires are the premise is that desires are the root of suffering, and then somehow that leads you to the conclusion that there may not be anything wrong with them. I don't see the logic there. If they are the root of suffering, how could there be anything good about them? I mean, isn't I don't get it. If something is the desire, if anything were the root of suffering, isn't that a sign that there's something inherently wrong with it? I don't know. So okay, so something is a little bit unclear there to me.
Okay.
But
here's another one.
Wait. But I want to just add something here, because he's got there's another point involved with this, and that's using desires for good use without getting carried away from them. Now, maybe the idea that you're trying to present is that desires can cause suffering. Desires are the root of suffering in the sense that they can cause suffering. That's not Buddhist theory. Desires do cause suffering. If you're referring to the mental state of wanting something, or instead of just the intention that we call desire. But if it's an actual desire, it can't help but bring, if it brings a result, it can't help but bring suffering as a result. Now, it's possible that they can be nullified, so not all desires do bring results. Sketchy may not bring results, depending on what theory you subscribe to, but in general, let's say, they do bring results, and there's no way that a desire could bring a positive result. The Buddha is very, very clear about this, specifically clear. Desire can only bring, I was just lost it now, but in the Anguttara Nikaya Book of Wands, desire can only bring suffering. Anyway. So no way to use desires for. But I mean, if you ask someone else, they might say some people, I think, might say desires are not so bad. Just don't, as you say, let them become passions, or let yourself get carried away by them. But that's not technically honest. You can, I can couch what I said in those kind of words and say, don't worry too much. And that's a good advice. Don't worry too much about your desires. Try to learn about them and learn about the bad desires and passions. And that's good advice, because once you do that, you'll start, because you can't hope, as a person who's never practiced Buddhism, can't hope to get close to their, you might say, innocent desires. Yeah, you would say innocent desires. So desires that are not evil in a conventional worldly sense. So desires that don't lead you to kill, steal, lie, cheat, yeah, and so on. Lost it totally. Yes, the innocent desires, but you can't get rid of them, because you're very much attached to them, but because there's all these coarse and crazy defilements, because you still want to kill, steal, lie, cheat. And so until you get rid of those, you're not going to be able to see clearly the more subtle ones. You're not going to have a chance to get rid of them. And so taking it step by step, it's very good advice to tell you just to try to deal with the passions and so on, and to not worry about them. So in that sense, I could answer this: how do we can't put to good use your desires, because that what I mean by it not being honest is that all desires are negative. And even though we might put up with them, we certainly can't put them to good use. But how would we, if your question was put up with them without getting carried away by them? I think maybe that's just a good way of summing it up. Put up with them without getting carried away with them. Deal with the getting carried away part first, because that's much more important, and deal with the views that lead you to get carried away first of all. Deal with your ideas and so on. I mean, a lot of these "how do I deal with" questions are really not dishonest, but it's dishonest of me to give you a direct answer, because that's not the point of Buddhism. The point of Buddhism is not to deal with. The point of Buddhism is to get rid of, to be free from. So the answer in all cases is don't put up with it. If you can't become a monk, at least start meditating, do some serious meditation, take time to do a meditation course if you can. If you really, really want to have answers to all your problems, take at least a meditation course. Hey, I'll be in Canada. I think a lot of people here are in America, so it's not that far. Let's see if we can actually run. Wouldn't it be great if we could actually run courses in Canada? One day we'll have a place where we can do that. We'll see. Maybe I can have people stay in my apartment or something like that. You can come and pitch a tent. Maybe it looks like a really nice natural area. There's one, Laurie said he would come and pitch a tent, and it looks like he'll be able to. I'll have to talk to the people supporting me, but they seem very kind, and they're very accommodating, so we'll see.